Welcome to Series Addict, where we journey into the heart of television history, exploring the shows that reshaped pop culture, ignited imaginations, and defined generations. Today, we travel back to a time when heroes didn't need superpowers, futuristic weapons, or explosive fight sequences to save the day. A time when intelligence was the ultimate tool, quick thinking was the sharpest weapon, and a single Swiss Army knife was enough to defuse a global crisis. This is the story of MacGyver. When MacGyver first aired in 1985, television was dominated by muscle-bound heroes, high-caliber shootouts, and action sequences that leaned heavily on brute force. The world was deep in the 80s, an era of Cold War tensions, neon-colored optimism, and a booming appetite for action entertainment. But in this landscape of bullets and explosions, MacGyver introduced something radically different. A hero who refused to carry a gun. A hero who relied on science, creativity, and empathy rather than violence. And in doing so, he became one of the most iconic characters the decade ever produced. Richard Dean Anderson brought Angus MacGyver to life with an authenticity that couldn't be faked. He was charming, humble, intelligent, and deeply human, qualities that set him apart from nearly every other TV hero of the era. Anderson portrayed MacGyver not as an untouchable superhuman, but as a relatable everyman, someone whose strengths grew from knowledge, curiosity, and compassion. The character wasn't perfect. He made mistakes, doubted himself, felt fear, and mourned losses. But he always found a way to push forward, using his mind as his greatest weapon. The idea behind MacGyver was simple: place a hero in an impossible situation and let him think his way out using only his surroundings. But executing this idea was anything but simple. Every episode was a puzzle, a carefully crafted blend of science, tension, and creativity. Writers consulted chemists, physicists, and engineers to ensure MacGyver's methods were rooted in actual principles, even if the show sometimes simplified or exaggerated them. The important part wasn't strict scientific accuracy. It was the celebration of problem-solving and the message that intelligence could triumph over violence, and audiences embraced that message wholeheartedly. For an entire generation of viewers, MacGyver became a symbol of ingenuity. Children imitated him on playgrounds. Teachers used scenes from the series to spark interest in chemistry and physics. The term "to MacGyver something," meaning to fix or build something using only what's available, entered everyday language and has remained alive decades later. The show followed MacGyver, an operative for the Phoenix Foundation, a fictional think tank and humanitarian organization. Through this setup, the writers had endless narrative freedom. One week MacGyver might be stopping an arms deal in Central America, the next week rescuing hostages in Eastern Europe, and the week after that, saving a small town from ecological disaster. The Phoenix Foundation allowed the series to blend espionage, adventure, mystery, and science fiction into a single cohesive universe where anything felt possible. Yet despite the exotic missions and high-stakes scenarios, one of the show's greatest strengths was its grounding in emotional storytelling. MacGyver wasn't a lone wolf. He had friendships, mentors, and people he cared about deeply. His relationship with Pete Thornton, played by Dana Elcar, became one of the emotional pillars of the show. Pete was more than just a boss. He was a confidant, a moral compass, and eventually a figure who faced his own challenges, including Elcar's real-life battle with glaucoma, which was written into the series in a deeply respectful and heartfelt way. Through characters like Pete, Jack Dalton, and others, MacGyver explored themes of loyalty, sacrifice, and the complexities of doing the right thing in a world filled with gray areas. MacGyver's refusal to use guns wasn't a simple character trait. It was a foundational philosophy. It reflected his trauma, his values, and his belief that every life had worth. This pacifist approach created tension the show hadn't seen before, forcing writers to develop creative, clever, and sometimes beautifully absurd solutions to dangerous problems. And that creativity gave birth to some of the most iconic moments in television history. Who could forget MacGyver escaping a sealed room using a map, a match, and a length of rope? Or turning a gum wrapper into a makeshift fuse? Or using milk to neutralize acid? Constructing a hot air balloon from scraps? Or building an explosive device using common household items? These MacGyverisms became the heartbeat of the series. Sequences where time slowed, the music swelled, and viewers leaned forward, wondering just how he would escape this one. Yet behind the scenes, these inventions were often a challenge for the production team. Writers needed fresh ideas every week. The effects team had to build gadgets that looked believable. Stunt coordinators had to design escapes that were visually exciting yet grounded enough to feel plausible. Sometimes episodes were rewritten on the fly when a proposed invention didn't work the way they hoped. Other times, actual scientists sent letters to the studio suggesting new tricks MacGyver could try. The show became a collaborative playground of creativity, held together by an unwavering commitment to making intelligence thrilling. But MacGyver wasn't only about science, it was about character. His compassion often put him in danger, because he refused to abandon someone in need, even when it jeopardized the mission. He believed in second chances, in redemption, and in the idea that even small acts of kindness could change the course of someone's life. This made the show uplifting in a way few action series dared to be. MacGyver wasn't driven by revenge or anger, he was driven by hope. As the seasons progressed, the show explored more of MacGyver's personal life. Flashbacks revealed a childhood touched by tragedy, including the death of his mother and grandmother, events that shaped his worldview and solidified his aversion to violence. Episodes delved into his love life, though MacGyver was famously unlucky in romance. Many of the women he cared about ended up in danger, leaving him alone, but wiser. These emotional storylines grounded the larger-than-life adventures, giving the audience a deeper understanding of the man behind the ingenuity. MacGyver's adventures took him everywhere: abandoned warehouses, dense jungles, underground bunkers, desert outposts, Arctic research stations. Each location brought new dangers and new challenges. But no matter how dire the situation, MacGyver approached it with calm determination and the belief that every problem had a solution. That belief became the central message of the show. The world is full of obstacles, but with creativity and compassion, we can overcome them. And perhaps that is why MacGyver remains timeless. Long after the final episode aired, long after the original 7 seasons and 2 TV movies, the show continues to inspire reruns, DVDs, streaming platforms, and fan communities keep MacGyver's legacy alive. Parents introduce their children to the series, and those children, now adults, still talk about how MacGyver sparked their curiosity and influenced their way of thinking. This was the power of MacGyver. Not just the character, not just the science, but the belief that knowledge mattered, that intelligence mattered, and that one person, equipped with creativity and courage, could change the world. As MacGyver's universe expanded, so did the ambitions of the show's creators. They pushed the series into bold new directions, stories involving environmental dangers, Cold War espionage, scientific ethics, and even personal moral dilemmas. The writers understood that MacGyver was not just an action hero, but a symbol of a particular worldview, a belief in peaceful solutions, in the power of improvisation, and in the value of knowledge. These ideals shaped every episode, even those built on high-octane adventure. The Phoenix Foundation remained at the heart of the story, acting as the narrative engine that propelled MacGyver from one mission to the next. It was a rare kind of fictional organization, equal parts intelligence agency, research institute, and humanitarian force. Through the Foundation, the show explored themes that ranged from nuclear disarmament to wildlife conservation, from global conflict to local corruption. Each mission tested MacGyver's adaptability, but they also tested his empathy. He wasn't simply sent to retrieve documents or stop criminals, he was sent to make the world better, even if only in a small, temporary way. In many episodes, MacGyver confronted villains who represented extremes of greed, power, and violence. But he rarely treated them as irredeemable monsters. Instead, he often tried to understand their motivations, which made the show surprisingly nuanced for its time. Some episodes didn't have a traditional antagonist at all. Nature itself, a malfunctioning machine, or a ticking deadline became the primary threat. These stories emphasized that the real enemy was often chaos and ignorance, not necessarily other people. Throughout the series, Richard Dean Anderson's performance anchored everything. His physical acting, running, jumping, climbing, sliding into danger, created a sense of realism. But the emotional weight he carried made MacGyver feel truly human. Anderson once stated that he valued MacGyver because the character solved problems without killing. This philosophy gave the show a sincerity that resonated deeply with audiences tired of senseless violence on television. MacGyver didn't just escape danger, he did so with integrity. The production of the show was famously demanding. Filmed largely in Vancouver after the first season, MacGyver required complex stunts and creative set designs. The famous MacGyverisms were often tested practically before filming. Many of them worked, at least partially, but some had to be modified or visualized in creative ways. Writers kept notebooks filled with potential inventions, and many came from everyday observations or scientific articles. The team's rule was simple. If MacGyver couldn't build it with the materials shown on screen, it wasn't allowed. One of the show's proudest achievements was its ability to inspire real curiosity about science. Teachers used episodes in classrooms, and young viewers wrote fan letters explaining how the show changed their interest in engineering or chemistry. Some later said that MacGyver directly influenced their career choice. Few television series can claim such a tangible educational impact, and even today, the show is used as a fun introduction to scientific problem-solving. Another powerful element was MacGyver's sense of morality. The character refused to use guns because of a traumatic childhood accident, but his aversion wasn't depicted as weakness, rather as a courageous ethical stance. While other heroes of the era relied on firepower, MacGyver relied on creativity. This made him stand out on television screens filled with explosions and bullets. Audiences connected with his values, and those values helped define the tone of the entire series. As the show matured, it also began to explore more of MacGyver's past episodes. Featuring his early life gave viewers glimpses into his rural upbringing, his love of nature, and the mentors who shaped him. These scenes added depth and provided context for his worldview. They also gave Richard Dean Anderson opportunities to show the quieter, more introspective side of the character, moments that grounded the show emotionally and allowed audiences to see beyond the action. The final seasons of MacGyver took the character into increasingly large-scale missions, including global crises and deeply personal conflicts. Even though the series eventually came to an end in 1992, its impact didn't fade. 2 television movies followed, attempting to continue MacGyver's adventures. While these films didn't achieve the same iconic status as the original episodes, they demonstrated the enduring love audiences had for the character. After all, MacGyver was never truly about the plot. It was about the man who believed problems could be solved with heart and intelligence. Decades later, when a reboot was announced in 2016, reactions were divided. The new series aimed to modernize the concept, introducing younger characters, updated technology, and a team-based structure. It succeeded in bringing the MacGyver name to a new generation, but many longtime fans felt the original carried a unique charm. The reboot could not replicate Richard Dean Anderson's presence. His distinctive warmth and his thoughtful delivery were difficult, if not impossible, to replace. The reboot stood on its own, but the cultural weight of the original remained unshaken. Part of the reason the original series is still beloved is its sincerity. There was no cynicism, no forced grittiness, no attempt to outdo other action shows with shock value. MacGyver relied on clever writing, heartfelt performances, and the timeless appeal of problem-solving. It was adventurous but optimistic, thrilling but thoughtful, and even as decades pass, those qualities keep the show relevant. Modern audiences often discover MacGyver with fresh eyes, appreciating its practical effects, its real stunts, and its creativity. In a world filled with digital shortcuts and CGI, the handcrafted charm of MacGyver feels refreshing. Every escape, every gadget, every improvised solution reminds viewers of a time when imagination mattered more than spectacle. And in that sense, MacGyver remains more than just a product of the 80s. It remains a blueprint for intelligent storytelling. But perhaps the most important legacy of MacGyver is the message it left behind. That intelligence is powerful. That creativity is meaningful. That choosing compassion over violence is not a weakness, but a moral victory. And that one person, yes, even someone armed with nothing more than a Swiss Army knife, a roll of duct tape, and a determined mind, can make a difference. This is why MacGyver endures. This is why his name still inspires. And this is why the series continues to resonate. Long after its original run, MacGyver wasn't just a television character. He was a symbol of possibility. A reminder that even the most impossible situations can be solved if we slow down, breathe, analyze, and believe in our own ability to create solutions. It's a message as powerful today as it was in 1985. Thank you for joining me on this deep exploration of a true television legend. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and as always, stay curious, stay creative, and I'll see you next time on Series Addict.